I don't think Matt Gaetz will have an impact on that. In fact, I'd be surprised if he was still voting. It's more likely he'll be in prison for child sex trafficking by 2024.
That was Marc Short, who served as chief of staff for former Vice President Mike Pence. He had a pretty spicy and accurate take in regard to Representative Matt Gaetz during his interview with CNN. Now let's take a look at the interview with a little more context.
Here's what Matt Gaetz said.
Our America is proudly ultra MAGA, not some low energy roadside RINO safari. On that note, let me just say what everybody here knows. Mike Pence will never be president. Nice guy, not a leader.
Marc?
Well, I don't know if Mike Pence will run for president in 2024, but I don't think Matt Gaetz will have an impact on that. In fact, I'd be surprised if he was still voting. It's more likely he'll be in prison for child sex trafficking by 2024. And I'm actually surprised that Florida law enforcement still allows him to speak to teenage conferences like that. So I'm not too worried about Matt Gaetz. Thanks.
There are very few pleasures in life here in the United States, especially these days. But watching Republican on Republican crime is probably my favorite pleasure. And I'm so happy I get to share it with you all here. Don't have any particular love for Marc Short, who is testifying before the January 6th committee. There's a lot of news around that, although he's tight-lipped about what his testimony entailed. But what he said about Matt Gaetz was accurate, and I loved every minute of it. Farron, thoughts?
We just witnessed a murder on live TV right there, and it was wonderful, to be honest with you. And Marc Short is right. I mean, when we look at a guy like Matt Gaetz, look at everything he's accused of. Should we put him in a room full of teenagers? Probably not. Maybe we ought to be a little bit more careful about who we put with all these underage individuals there. But I've covered this extensively, mostly because Gaetz, of course, is my congressman, unfortunately, right here. And Gaetz is in some serious trouble. I know he likes to pretend it's all a witch hunt and the guy that was trying to extort them, but this is a real big problem for him. Greenberg has been such a good, Joel Greenberg, the former Seminole County tax collector, has been such a good cooperating witness that he's had his sentencing delayed 3 or 4 times now. And they only did that because he was giving them such quality information. Now, what I was hoping for was that Greenberg would be sentenced early in August. That is initially what they were trying to do, but they've now pushed that back to December. So what's gonna happen in this particular case, most likely, is we are not gonna see any other criminal indictments until Joel Greenberg is safely locked away in prison. They do that obviously for protection. There's already been some leaks out of some things that have happened with Greenberg's cooperation, saying they're trying to keep a lot of it under wraps because they're afraid of witness intimidation. They're afraid of people fleeing. There's some serious stuff happening, and they want to make sure that everybody is safe and protected before they move forward with indictments. So December could see some big fireworks for this, and Marc Short's right. Matt Gaetz may not have really any opinion on 2024 because he could easily be behind bars.
Yeah, and look, we experience many people in positions of power, particularly those in the executive branch, who seem to never suffer any consequences for their criminality, including war crimes under the Bush administration, et cetera, et cetera. However, we have seen members of Congress get tried and convicted of crimes. We have seen them get thrown in prison as a result of those crimes. So it's not far-fetched for the same consequences to be the outcome of this investigation by the DOJ, which, by the way, the DOJ began investigating Matt Gaetz and his alleged sexual relationship with a 17-year-old who he allegedly paid to have sex with, and who he allegedly paid to travel across state lines to have sex with, which, by the way, doing that is a federal crime. If he is convicted of those crimes, he's looking at a significant amount of time behind bars. And what I find so amazing about all of it is that you have people like Marjorie Greene and other QAnon believers who think that there's a massive Democrat-led child sex trafficking ring in the country, whenever they're confronted with stories like this and accusations in regard to Matt Gaetz like this, they have nothing to say. In fact, they continue to defend Matt Gaetz, even though we don't know what the outcome of this investigation is gonna be. But I'm glad that you mentioned, Farron, that things are like, people are a little tight-lipped about this. And I've been wondering what the updates are, because we haven't really seen much reporting on the investigation into Matt Gaetz since January of this year. And so apparently it's still continuing, and you've got a little more insight than I did on that investigation. And for those of you who are wondering, what are you guys talking about? Because it has been a while since we've talked about it on the show. It's been a while since there's been much reporting on it. Here's the breakdown. Okay, I'll give you a quick summary. So the Washington Post wrote about it back in January. They write, investigators started looking into whether Joel Greenberg, who was referenced by Farron here, a wealthy Florida politician who is now a convicted sex trafficker, made up a sexual misconduct allegation to smear his opponent during a county tax collector race. And the investigation expanded to sexual trafficking and to Matt Gaetz. Now, Greenberg, Gaetz's Florida friend, has pleaded guilty to sex trafficking, charges of a minor, charges of a minor, and he's now fully cooperating with investigators who seem focused on people beyond Greenberg. In fact, a number of allies around Gaetz seem to have turned on him. Again, another reference that you made, Farron. Prosecutors have convened a federal grand jury to look into Gaetz and have had his ex-girlfriend testify potentially into his behavior with women and any trips he took with women while paying for sex. And by the way, Matt Gaetz stupidly was paying women through the Venmo app without making his Venmo activity private. So there was some reporting on that. Seemed like there were some large payments made to women. That's all under investigation. And by the way, it's also important to remember that in 2017, Matt Gaetz was literally the only member of Congress to vote against a law boosting the government's human trafficking investigation powers, saying that he was sent to Congress to reduce the reach of government, even in cases when we're talking about humans being trafficked. Interesting.
Well, what we know about this case as well is that there are 5 unnamed individuals. They're named in the sealed court documents. What has been released publicly, the names are redacted. But there's 5 individuals basically that are the targets of the ongoing investigation and the cooperation of Greenberg. We do not technically, have confirmation that Matt Gaetz is one of those 5. But it stands to reason, given all of the information we know Greenberg has turned over about Matt Gaetz, and of course now again prosecutors got the ex-girlfriend to testify. You don't bring in Matt Gaetz's ex-girlfriend to testify against somebody that's not Matt Gaetz, right? I mean, that just doesn't seem plausible here. So it stands to reason Gaetz is one of the 5, but then who are the other 4 of this very politically connected former Florida politician? We could see some other big names in there. And right now we have absolutely no clue who those people could be. It could be maybe people with presidential ambitions. We don't know, but we will, like I said, once he gets sentenced, we're gonna see some indictments drop. We're gonna hear some big names. Maybe it's Gaetz, maybe not, but we're gonna find out, and like I said, it's gonna be big, big, big when it finally goes down. But they're not doing it till Greenberg is safe in prison.
Can't wait to see what happens, but I do love to see the difference between how Republicans fight back versus how Democrats fight back. Because attacking Matt Gaetz for this DOJ investigation, in my opinion, is just common sense. It's low-hanging fruit, and you don't see Democrats going after him for that. It took another Republican, Marc, to do it. And I think that says a lot about the kind of messaging and the type of politicking we see among Democratic voters. They don't have a fight in them if their life depended on it. And it's just so pathetic to see.